Film is a medium that transports. All I have to do is pop myself in front of the TV to watch a movie, and I can just enjoy whatever place the film takes me to.
Movies have always been an escape. It gives you a whole new world to be in.
I have a rekindled love affair with movies.
Hello, welcome to Real Talk, a conversation about today we will be having movies that have come out recently. It's just me, Paul Britton. My friends Sergio and Susan were unable to make it today and also had life things going on that we're going to find it difficult to actually see the movies that were coming out, and we'd really, this is what we had planned. I went and saw the movies. So they said, why don't you do it? And I said, okay, I can talk about Wes Anderson for a long time. So that's what we will be doing, talking about movies and starting with Wes Anderson's latest movie, which is called The French Dispatch. So we already have a question. What is the Wes Anderson film you recommend for newbies? Or is that a nuanced question, and why? Okay, so let's start with our French Dispatch conversation. Really does need to begin with Wes Anderson, and Wes Anderson is my favorite director. I'm just, that's just, I've mentioned it before, and I love all of his movies. And the reason why is he has a very unique voice, and when a Wes Anderson movie is on, he's so unique that you're watching a Wes Anderson movie. Like, you could just have never seen a particular one of his movies. If you've seen like 2 or 3 of his other ones, you'd say, oh, is this the guy that does the other things? And you'd be like, yeah, actually it is the guy that does the other things. So as far as what film would I recommend for newbies, it's simple. His first major release, his first movie was Bottle Rocket, which is good, but it very much feels like a college production, or like a very independent, super low budget production. Whereas his first major release was called Rushmore, and I would always recommend Rushmore. First of all, it is my favorite of his movies, and it's probably the most accessible, the least weird, it's a fantastic movie. It's about a kid who goes to this school, this really hoity-toity boarding school called Rushmore that he can't actually afford to go to, but he got a scholarship because he wrote a play. And he's just this really quirky kid who just his entire life is going to this school, Rushmore. And then hilarity ensues with Bill Murray. And the biggest common thread you'll find for all Wes Anderson movies are the cast, specifically Bill Murray. He shows up in every single one of them to varying degrees. And so that, that's a good place to start. Is if you like Bill Murray, maybe you might want to check out some Wes Anderson movies. Another thing beyond the cast that is a common thread is his visual style. He has this weird look where he frames all of his shots, especially as his career progressed, where everything is pictured like it's in a diorama, where it's very 3-dimensional, but flat, almost, so like when you're a kid and you're making a diorama, not everything is 3-dimensional. You have scene elements that are just cutouts and whatnot, and that's the way his films are laid out. His visual styling is laid out, where things are flat but yet 3-dimensional and super long. My favorite thing about a Wes Anderson movie is it appears like, okay, we're in this little box. It's like watching a play, but then the camera pans, and it doesn't pan like in a circle. It literally like pans like it's a tracking shot, but only instead of tracking forward, it's tracking sideways. And you just get this idea that the diorama is really frigging long. exactly like a medieval folk painting or Grandma Moses. Absolutely, very much like a medieval painting, very much. And so the importance of understanding this is, and his visual framing is because all of it leads up to the French Dispatch. And so what the French Dispatch is about is there's a paper in Nebraska that has a Sunday pull out magazine called the French Dispatch. And it's just basically like a travel log. And the movie is about the editor of this travel log, who is played by Bill Murray, and the people, his cadre, his unique cadre of writers, who played by Owen Wilson. And let me bring it up on IMDb, but the cadre of writers, and you don't have a standard narrative in this one. Each single it's a set of 3 different basically short films brought together with the Bill Murray character, the editor, and this magazine sort of being the one thing that strings them all together, and keeps the overall narrative together for whatever there might be, which really isn't a whole lot. But so the first story features Owen Wilson. The second story features a writer played by Tilda Swinton. And then we have Frances McDormand plays the third one, Lucinda Kremitz. These I'm avoiding the names on purpose. They are unique. The names are unique. And then the last one, Jeffrey Wright plays the final writer. He's from Westworld. You would know him from. Fantastic actor. And the thing is, the thing that's delightful about these is that they don't connect. They really are just these wonderful, unique, stories that are fascinating in and of themselves, as much as any single character could possibly be. But that's the wonderful thing, is like the writer is a fascinating character, has its own voice. So each story has the voice of the writer, but also the characters that surround these writers are just equally as fascinating. One by Tilda Swinton features Benicio del Toro and Adrian Brody. I mean, look, these names are, if you follow movies at all, these are big, huge names, and they just absolutely dive into these wonderful, delicious little short stories. And the other reason why I love Wes Anderson films, not just because he has a singular voice, but that voice is always very positive and very upbeat, and just it's unique and brings warmth and happiness into my heart. A friend of mine, we were having a little conversation about, actually Blair, who's on this right now, he mentioned, I don't always like his movies, but I never hate them. And that's the thing is that Wes Anderson movies aren't always necessarily going to be your favorite, and you're not always going to be like, oh, I really want to watch a Wes Anderson movie. You might not always be in the mood. However, it's not like Black Licorice, where you could say, oh, I hate Wes Anderson movies. Like, if you hate Wes Anderson movies, like, that might be a comment more on what's going on with what you have going on. Blair mentions that they are smart Disney movies, which is true. Smart adult Disney movies, and this one, by the way, is by far the most adult of his movies. Benicio del Toro plays an artist, and he likes to paint nudes. So there's a lot of that in this one, but it's still just super, super light. So the depth here in his movies is in the character, not some deep-seated hidden meaning of life, the universe, and everything. It's just really, here are some amazingly delightful characters. Now enjoy. Very reminiscent of what the Coen brothers do, with probably a lot less story than what the Coen brothers would normally present. And so, if I were to say, okay, if you said I've never seen a Wes Anderson movie, but I definitely want to see French Dispatch, but I don't want to go in cold. What do you recommend? This is what I would recommend you do. First, go watch Rushmore. Okay, that's the first one you're gonna watch. Then you're gonna watch The Royal Tenenbaums. Okay, then you're gonna watch The Fantastic Mr. Fox, and then you're gonna watch Grand Budapest Hotel. Now those are my 4 favorite Wes Anderson movies, and I'm having you watch them in release order because the first thing you're going to notice is as you move along, you're from film to film, you're going to see what I was talking about, where his shots really become like dioramas. And especially Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is an animated, stop motion film. I mean, it's, basically he is setting up dioramas. Like everything is a diorama. And Grand Budapest Hotel, it really that making that transition from the stop motion to a live action. It's like, oh my God, he's now just really doing it. But that's, so those are the 4 movies that you watch in order, and then you watch French Dispatch. Is like, oh my gosh, you can really see the progression of an auteur, a director that has a singular vision, a very unique voice, and it really comes through. So French Dispatch on its own, I loved it. I'm just going to tell you, it's right up there. Like, it's might be number 5 for me right now. I don't know. I still I still love The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. I still love that one. So that, but it's right there. It's not quite Grand Budapest Hotel amazing or Rushmore amazing, but it's so good. And it doesn't it doesn't have the character development to the extent that the Royal Tenenbaums has, but it's, within each story, it's fantastic. So here on Real to Real Talk, we give our movies taco ratings, 0 to 5 tacos. And if we like it, we can also add on a little extra guac for it. So look, Wes Anderson, I'm giving it 5 tacos plus guac, and I'm not even going to apologize. Like, that's just where it is. If somebody came to me and said, you know what, I'm only giving it 4 tacos, I'd say, yes, great. If somebody came to me, I'm only giving it 3 tacos, I'd be like, come on, I'll go watch it with you, and then we'll have a conversation, and I'll tell you why it deserves at least that 4th taco. But for me, right now, 5 tacos with guac, it's just a fantastic film. The next big release, actually released this weekend, was Last Night in Soho from Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright is famous for the Coronado trilogy that he made, and with his friends. What are their names? Why can't I? Wrong movie. Shoot. Hold on. Simon Pegg, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, the Coronado trilogy being Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. And very British, very funny, all 3. And he's also done several movies on his own. The first one being Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which is a fantastic and unique movie-going experience, and also Baby Driver, which was the unique thing about Baby Driver was the soundtrack. And actually, that's one thing that I forgot to mention about Wes Anderson movies. His soundtracks are just off the wall. Like, they're amazing. And they almost always incorporate, just fun, quirky little songs from the 60s. Edgar Wright, very similar. He loves bringing in fun, quirky movie songs into his movies. And Baby Driver is a huge example of that. Baby Driver is also a heist movie, so I am going to be prone to love it. And so I was super excited when I first saw the trailer for Last Night in Soho, which is the trailer gives it a bit of a horror movie vibe. And I'm going to say Last Night in Soho, definitely Edgar Wright's most serious movie. not a lot of levity in the tone or the subject matter. Last night in Soho features the um, Anna Taylor-Joy, who was in Emma early last year. She's also The Queen's Gambit, fantastic series, miniseries that was on, I'm going to say Netflix, and also Thomasin McKenzie, who you may recognize from, she was the young girl in Jojo Rabbit. She was also in Old most recently with M. Night Shyamalan. So those two are the lead actors. Thomasin McKenzie is playing a character that's in today's world who has the sensibilities from the 1960s. She loves her grandma, and her grandma introduced her to 1960s music, and she brings that along with her to her design school, where because she came from the sticks of England, she's a little bit of an outcast. She wears her own clothes that she made, which those aren't designer clothes. And she also has this weird power where she can see her dead mom, and we're not really sure. Early in the movie, we're not really sure how far does that power extend. But hey, you can see your dead mom. That's not weird or anything, right? And then after being ridiculed and ostracized by her classmates, she decides to go out on her own and get her own apartment rather than living in the housing provided by the school. And here, her powers really open up, and that's when she channels a sort of like a wannabe singer and socialite from the 1960s by Anna Taylor-Joy, Sandy, and Thomasin McKenzie's Eloise, who she goes by Ellie in the movie, starts finding out that Sandy's life wasn't all that she wanted it to be, and there was a really dark path for her life because it wasn't easy to just become a singer. So she had to become a dancer first. And obviously the easiest place to become a dancer is in cabaret. And that leads her down a road to becoming a high-end call girl. And it just gets really dark from there. This is a very dark movie. No, way to sugarcoat it. It's a dark movie, but stylistically, it's just gorgeous. I just was absolutely enthralled with every second of this movie. Visually, the visuals, and also just the audio, the music that they're bringing in. Edgar Wright went and found songs that I knew the songs, had no idea they were that the songs that I knew were actually remakes of lesser known 60s songs. And I call them lesser known 60s songs because, again, I had no idea they had been songs from the 60s. And I used to listen to a lot of oldie station when I was a kid. So, I listened to a lot of 60s music. But as Ellie explores Sandy's transition to high-end call girl, things start going poorly for her, and she gets sucked into the visions, and much to her detriment. And it becomes a mystery because Sandy actually ends up being murdered by her pimp, in essence. And it becomes how are we going to, how is Ellie going to bring peace and justice to Sandy? And that's what the movie becomes, until there's a twist. And it's impossible to talk about this movie and say, oh, well, there's a twist. Okay. It's unexpected. I totally didn't see the twist coming. And also, unfortunately, it's completely unnecessary. This twist felt like it was a twist for having a twist's sake. Just like Edgar Wright was like, you know what? I have to throw in a twist. I can't just let this story resolve itself, which is unfortunate because I was madly in love with the story that was being told. And I disliked everything about the twist. It just opened up way too many doors and plot holes that go unresolved. And at the end of the movie, I'm like, what just happened there? What was that ending all about? And that's where it goes, which is unfortunate because it was a 5 taco movie up until about with 15 minutes left, and then unfortunately I land on 4 tacos. It just, the ending just did not, it crash landed for me, which is a, you know, especially with a horror movie, like, and it definitely was a horror movie and it had major horror movie vibes. You have to stick the landing, and in this case throwing in a twist and saying here we go didn't work. It just wasn't the way to go. I'm sorry, Blair, I missed some of your comments here. Do I think that was the intent? I'm assuming the question is in regards to having a twist that blew up everything in the past. And no, I'm just going to flat out say no, because of the crazy left turn that it takes. Again, I believe that the twist was to keep people off on their toes, but I do also believe that the story was strong enough. The story was strong enough without having to throw the twist in there and just not just keep people on their toes, but knock people on their butts. It's that strong of a twist, and it just it doesn't work. Is it there to make you feel uncomfortable? And no, because the rest of I felt far more uncomfortable with the movie leading up to the twist, and the twist almost tries to make you feel like, oh, okay. So, well, all right, I'm okay with this. And it's like, we could have still gone there and not, there were so many ways to go where this movie went without having the thing. Unnecessary as black licorice. Yes, the twist was as unnecessary as black licorice. So Last Night in Soho, beautiful movie, fantastic soundtrack. I definitely recommend people go see it. It's only in theaters right now. Check it out. Your mileage for twist endings may vary, and I hope that you enjoy it. For me, twist ending knocked off a whole taco, but hey, 4 tacos is still a good rating. The last movie I'm going to talk about is Army of Thieves. This is a follow-up to Army of the Dead, which, as we recall, we actually covered this one. We actually reviewed Army of the Dead. It's the Zack Snyder movie that went directly to Netflix. It was a zombie flick. And so this Army of Thieves is actually, it's a follow-up movie, but it's also a prequel. It's a prequel that focuses on the safecracker Army of the Dead, Dieter. And, Dieter was one of the best things about Army of the Dead, other than the zombies. And he's super likable. He's a good character. And this is a heist movie. Basically, Army of Thieves is about a master criminal mind has a master plan to go and rob the 3 least accessible safes in all of Europe, and she needs a safecracker to do it, and so she finds Dieter to be the one to help her out. It's a heist movie, so I'm automatic. Like my bar is super high for heist movies. Like you have to be egregiously poor in order to really not be something I enjoy. This movie kind of tests my limit on there. Is there a 17-hour supercut of which one, Army of the Dead or Army of Thieves? I don't know either way, and I wouldn't be interested in either one. But Army of Thieves as a heist movie is actually okay. I love heist movies, so just to be only okay is probably not the best thing for you as a heist movie for me. Here's the problem. Okay, as I mentioned, they're going out to rob 3 of the most impossible to open up safes. The movie starts out with plot exposition explaining that the 3 most impossible safes to open are these 3 are these 3 safes and nobody knows where they are. Like, there's too much mystery around these safes, and that's the problem. And so they open up this idea that not only are these safes impossible to open up, but there's also mystery about where they're even located. And it was too much. It's like we didn't need that. Also, as it turns out, heist movies work better when there's one heist. Like, you know, Ocean's 12 had 2 heists, and honestly, that's my least favorite of the Ocean's movie. It's one too many thing. Just give me one really good heist. Too many MacGuffins. Absolutely. Yes. There was actually a 4th MacGuffin, as it turns out, which was the safe that they go and crack in Army of the Dead. So like heist movies, I definitely recommend Army of Thieves. If you liked Army of Dead, I definitely recommend Army of Thieves. If you're not that into either heist movies, or if you didn't care for the character Dieter in Army of the Dead, you could probably sit this one out. But hey, it's on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, you might as well just go and watch it, right? So Army of Thieves. And the other thing is, it wasn't an army of thieves. Like, I was expecting like there to be 12 thieves or something. There's like 4. Come on, that's not 5. Sorry. That's not an army. That's barely like even like a battalion. Like, come on. Not even a company. It's like you have like barracks of thieves, barely, enough. I'm giving this one 3 tacos though, because it's a heist movie. And you get to watch people break into stuff. And that's fun, right? I think so. So, hey, look, I'm glad that it's a squad. Is it a squad? I don't know if it's even qualifies as a squad. I really hope that you enjoyed my reviews of The French Dispatch, the Last Night in Soho, and Army of Thieves. I want to remind everyone that you can hop on Facebook and give a like to our Real to Real Talk Facebook page. If you prefer Instagram, we're there too. Go check us out on Instagram at Real to Real Talk. Don't forget YouTube, where hopefully some of you are watching this right this second on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, please. Please hit the subscribe button, and also definitely hit the like button. Again, I'm Paul Britton. Next week, the whole gang of friends and acquaintances will be back together, and we will have a regular full cast review of The Eternals, which is coming out this weekend. Another Marvel movie. Don't listen to the hoity-toity critics. Come here, find out what real people think about The Eternals. We'll give you the straight poop on The Eternals right here. You don't need to worry about what other people are thinking about it. We'll tell you what's up. But yeah, thank you once again, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And I'll use Sergio's exit line as always. You're awesome, you're amazing, and the world's a better place with you in it. Thanks so much for dropping by, everybody. Good night.